Hi everybody, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up from Ohio. I've come to bring you a fun fold card today and I hope you enjoy it. But first I want to tell you that if you do buy Stampin' Up, that our bonus days ends in a couple days and you might want to take advantage of that. In the US, for every $5 you spend, for every $50 you spend, you get a $5 coupon emailed to you to be able to use in the month of August. And so you might want to take advantage of that right now if you can. And then in August, we will be putting out a kit discount. They're going to have a special on all the kits. Or I don't know if it's all the kits, but there's going to be a kit sale. So if you like to do kits and have everything pre-cut and ready for you, kits are the way to go, and so you might want to check that out. But today I am going to do a fun fold card, and I'm going to get my computer set up to where there we go, to where I can see it, so I can make sure I stay in focus. You know, I get carried away. I move my cards here and there and everywhere, and so kind of hard to do. I do want to tell you I've got directions. It's a PDF. You can get this over at my Facebook group, Stamp Crazy VIP, and so if you're on Facebook, the easiest way would be to grab it over there. There will be a link in the description to get to the Facebook page to get that. And so that's kind of important, especially if you like written directions with a picture that you can see and make what you want to make. I like written directions, and you know, I do this not only for the sake of other people that need that. I do that for me because I print out one of the directions, put my sample card with it, and I have them filed in notebooks, and then that way I can go back, and when I just have no inspiration, I can go back and go through that and find some different things to do. So with that being all said, I am going to flip my camera down to the table so we can start on the card. But while I'm doing that, the first thing, if you get dizzy, go ahead and shut your eyes. If you don't get dizzy, you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that while I'm turning the camera, and if you could, give me a thumbs up. All of that works really good for my channel, and I appreciate it really, really a lot. So let me turn you down, and then we will get started. Get to see my ceiling. And there we go. I think we'll be okay right there. Looks good to me. Camera might be a little crooked. Let's just move that a little bit. There we go. Okay, there we are. I think we're in focus. It looks like it on my end. So that's good. This is the PDF. It has pictures of the card. It has what I used, and it has the directions. So like I said, you can pick that up over on my Facebook group. I also have an online store. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love for you to order from me. That's my online store address. This is my host code that you can use to order. Unless you have over $150 order, then don't use that, so you can get the perks of being a hostess per se and get that discount. I see black at the edge of my thing. I don't have my phone quite right where it needs to be. There we go. Let's get that out of there. Get all the stuff out we don't need. Okay, we did that. Okay, so now we're going to start on this card. Here's my card. It's a bookbinding gatefold. So here's your bookbinding part. It's sealed. And then here's our gatefold. So it's called a bookbinding gatefold, and then you can make this little closure so that your card stays closed better. You have that to kind of lock it down if you so want to do that. But I'm going to show you, especially, you know, what the measurements are and all of that, so that you can be able to make this card. And I have to say, it goes really quick. I've turned around so I can get my paper. I forgot to set it on my table. Okay, here we go. So let's set this aside and we'll set this aside. I think you can still see it while it's over here. So I already have my scoring done. And let me tell you how it's scored. It's scored at 2 1/8 right here, 3 3/8 right here, and 8 7/8 right here. It's done in eighths, but the reason being it makes the card work. Okay? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to fold my card back here. That's like a mountain fold. So we're doing that fold first. Let me turn that over. Make sure my paper's squared. Then we're going to do a valley fold with this right here. And then we are going to do a valley fold over here, and those should come together right like that. Let me make sure this one's kind of square. It looks a little bit off. See if we can hold it and get that to lay good. There we go. So there is our card and how it opens, okay? So that's how it's going to open. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is I am using Fresh as a Daisy DSP. So I've got the same paper, but I'm going to use the wrong side for the small piece. These are cut 1 by 4, and these two are 1 7/8 by 4. Okay, we are going to do the 1-inch one first, and we're going to have that side right there showing. So let me get my glue out. Look, my label and everything came off of this one. I must have been doing some heavy stuff. I don't know. We're going to glue this down really good. And we'll just put it on this small edge over here. Fits right in there. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to use our ribbon, but I'm going to use the mauve ribbon on this one. I used the wild wheat over here that you see on the sample, but let's use the mauve, and I'm going to cut that 16 inches. That gives me plenty of room to tie my knot and stuff. So let's cut 16 inches right there. We'll use that. I would rather have more ribbon than not enough when I go to do something like that and make it easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this, and I'm going to put adhesive right here on this, where we put on the back side of where we put this paper. Right here is going to go your adhesive. So, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for that because I want, let's pull my paper up that time. Stop that. Get it going. But what it'll do is that it will also hold my card down. Or not my card, my ribbon. I'm thinking about my card. It'll hold the ribbon down. So I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to leave a little shorter end at the top than I do at the bottom, because I'm going to offset that ribbon a little bit. So let's move that down to about there. Just going to put that in the center. And then I'm going to take and fold that over onto my card, okay? So that's how we've got that. We're going to burnish that really good. We want that to be stuck really well. Then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm just going to tie me a knot right here. Okay? So let's just take this, wrap it around. Got my finger in the way. It's usually, there we go. I started to say it's usually a little bit easier than that for me, but that one, I'm going to have to tighten the bottom part. There we go. Usually, I don't have that much of a hard time, but today, I'm having a hard time. There we go. So we've got our knot. And then I'm just going to cut the ends of my ribbon. And I'm going to cut them fairly short. So I want this one to go this way, I think. I'm going to turn it this way. And I want that to go like that. There we go. And that will be my ribbon. I will take my glue dots, and I'm going to put a glue dot right in underneath that knot to kind of hold it. I'm about out of glue dots here. I'm going to have to get me a new pack. Sit out here. Leave a pack sit out here on my camera stand, because you never know when you're going to need a glue dot to hold something down. And I just do that to kind of hold that knot in place, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these two pieces. I'm going to put glue on them, and we're going to put them on the fronts of our card. So far you can see we have not used a whole lot of cardstock and DSP. And that's a good thing about this card, because it'd be a good card to use to make a lot of cards, because you're not using a lot of product. Start saying, I think I've got a piece of ribbon in there. And I'm going to bring this one and I'm going to put this on. Same thing. So there we go. That is everything's nice and folded. The other thing, the only other piece of paper we'll use will be a 4x4 inch piece of basic white cardstock, and it's going to go right here, but we're going to stamp it before we put it in there, okay? So we've got this all done, and to decorate it, what we're going to do is I took the dies, which are right here, and I cut out a label, which is the label punch. I cut out 2 daisies. I cut out the large one, and it's just the outline piece, and I cut out the medium one. Then here is, I call that the medium because that's a half daisy, so that's what I call small. Then I took 2 leaves, and my leaves are right off of this right here. So I took 2 full leaves, and then I had cut a set of leaves apart and used 1 leaf. And that is what we're going to use. And since this is attached, I did not want to cut all these flowers out because I didn't want to cut them out in wild wheat. So let me bring in my little mini embossing machine, and I'm going to show you exactly how I cut that so that you don't cut through the whole thing without paper, without cardstock or paper. So we'll put that, and we'll put my poor plate that looks pitiful, but it still works good, so we still use it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a piece of this, and I'll cut it about right here. That's about all I need. So let's just cut a piece off. Since we're just doing one, I'll take out my die and see how big it is. And I don't want to cut all that. I don't want to waste paper cutting something I wouldn't use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay that right on my cardstock for the leaves, okay? And then I'm going to put my top on. And I'm just going to, let me move that a little bit when I did that. Okay. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll that enough. As you can see, I just went enough to get the leaves. I did not do the rest of the die. And I came back. I think I got enough. Yeah, I did. Okay. And then we're going to pull that out. Take that off. Maybe I didn't. That's okay. Should have rolled it just a little bit more. But this will be like the 2 leaves that I didn't, that I take apart. So I should have rolled it just a hair further. It's hard when you're not standing over it, when you want just a piece of it. So I just took it, because I didn't get the bottom, this little side leaf, but I got all the rest. And there's my leaves. And then that way I did not keep running over all of this dye without any paper there. For the one thing, it cuts into your plates so much. And then another thing, if you're cutting colored leaves, you don't want, unless you can use the flowers in color, you don't want to waste your cardstock. So I just want to show you that little tip of doing that. So let's put this back on here. I'm missing one die. My friend, we're getting ready to do a stamping event tomorrow night, and she's cutting out the little, there's a sprig leaf that goes with this for a die, and she had to cut a ton of sprig leaves, so she's using that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a piece of, just in case I go off of the paper. Here, we're going to use the stamp set. We're going to use this stamp, this one, the 2 middles, and the birthday stamp. Okay, now I did use this stamp right here on my sample card because I ended up getting my saying too high. So I went ahead and stamped a few little daisies down here. Now I made another card earlier this morning on my Facebook Live, and I didn't do that. I put my saying down where it should have been, and I liked it better than that being a little bit busy. So I've already cut my dies out, so we are going to stamp them. And I always set my dies with the smaller petals, and what you can see here, these petals right here are smaller than these up here. So when I stamp, that's my guideline. So let's bring in the Moody Mauve. That's the color I'm using. It's one of the new in colors, and I love it. So what I'm going to do is I want to bring up my stamp. Picked it up and turned it upside down. That was smart. And I'm going to stamp this in the corner here. So I have that stamped. And then I don't think I'll need that anymore. And so I'm going to line up this little flower with the edge goes right over here. I got to bring this down just a little bit. I hope you guys can see it. I got my flower upside down. That's why it doesn't match. There we go. I started to say that didn't match. My hair's in the way. I'm sorry. Nope, I think I got that offset a little bit, and I did. It's hard not putting your head straight over it. Let me do this one. But that's okay. I mean, it's okay to use it that way. There's that flower. And then we're going to take the wild wheat, and that's going to be the center of our flowers plus the sentiment. So let's do our big sentiments, or our big, and the colors will dry lighter. It's one thing about Stampin' Up! Colors, they do dry lighter. Then we're going to do our small daisy. And then we are going to do our sentiment. So you can go ahead and cut your die cuts out in white and then stamp them the color you want. They're easy to line up like that. Some dies aren't, but these are. So I'm going to bring that down so I can just use this and not that daisy stamp. And there is the saying. So I'm not going to use that other little stamp. So let's close that up. We have all of our stamping done. So now we're ready to just put this together. And the first thing I'm going to do is take this and put it in the center, the inside of my card. So let's go ahead and take this open and lay this in here. Free from all the score lines. Put that together and just, there we go. We've got that inside done. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to see how I want to place my daisy, and I think it's going to go right like this. So I just want glue over here on this side, because I don't want to glue the two flaps together. That wouldn't work. So I'm just adding some glue, and I'm going to stick it right here. And I'm going to take one of my leaves, whoops, take this longer one that's got some pieces on it, and I'm going to actually pull that up just a little bit. Lay that back down, and that'll glue onto the flower and to the paper. I'm going to bring in my little flower, and I'm going to glue that over here to the edge, and I'm just going to put it in under that flower a little bit. And now I'm going to bring this in, and I want it to be over the flower so that I can tuck that flower back in. I don't want it, I mean, you could put it down here, but you're still going to have this flap. So you want to put it up here, and you want to make a closure for it. So I am using actually some of my spare pieces, because I always try to use everything all the way around this. So I'm going to take this little piece right here, and I'm actually going to cut this off. And I'm going to stick that in this little indentation part right here. I hope I got enough of it cut off. Or if I move it over, cut just another hair piece of it off, and put that down. Then I'm going to, I'll bring this over, and I'll put it up above the leaves, the petals on the flower, and just put it down. And there we have our closure made. And that holds it closed so that when you open it, it opens like this, and then this just goes behind that. So let's add our extra leaves. So I have another one here. I'm going to add some glue to it. And you can use your favorite adhesive. You don't have to use what I use. I like liquid glue, so. And then I'm going to put that in under there. Make sure it's down. And then I'm going to take the other one, just the one. And I'm going to add a little glue. Doesn't need to be much, and I'm going to stick it right there. And all we have to do is add our jewels now. I don't know why my camera's going a little bit blurry today. It does that on YouTube a lot. I don't get it like that on Facebook as much as I have been on YouTube. Don't know what that's about. But I'm going to take my Wild Wheat Jewels. This is in the pack of the 2023-25 in color dots. And I'm going to just put a jewel here, there, and everywhere. Just wherever I think feels good. I think I'll go back out here like that. And there we go. That is our card. Doesn't take very long to make one of these. They're easy to make, and they are also just, they're fast, they're easy. You can use a lot of different DSPs. It only takes like a 5x4 inch piece of designer series paper. So you're not using a lot. You're not using a lot of it, but you're using enough of it. You could get 6 cards out of a 12x12 piece with a little bit left over, which would make it nice. So anyway, that is my card. I hope you like it. And remember that our sale is going to start. And also, if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love for you to go visit my website. I'd love to be able to get some new recruits. So if you've ever thought about selling Stampin' Up, I would love to have you join my team. So think about that. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. There's a lot of videos out there, and the videos you see, there's directions on the Facebook page. So just wanted to let you know, and until next time, everybody be safe and have a great day. Bye.